Dave.
Hey.
How you doing, baby?
Little Steven?
Yes, sir.
In the house and on the line. I love it. 25.9 The Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock, the Workforce Blocks at Noon year-end special, and Dave Lawrence here joining me as my last guest of 2003 to talk about his radio show that's debuting on 105.9 this Sunday at 10, and we are so excited about that. And to talk about rock and roll in general as an extraordinarily talented producer, guitarist, vocalist, songwriter, actor, and true gentleman. From Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band, HBO's wildly popular Sopranos, and host of Little Steven's Underground Garage, debuting this Sunday evening on Honolulu's only classic rock, I am pleased to welcome Little Steven to the airwaves here on the Workforce Blocks at Noon. Aloha, my friend.
Aloha, Dave. How you doing, baby?
What's up, man? Where are you calling from now?
I am in Los Angeles, actually.
Cool. Good to have you on board, man. Now, are you taking time out from Sopranos activity to be with us?
No, I'm still filming. We got one more show to do, which should be done around, 21st, something like that.
Okay, and we'll get into that coming up, too, and plus get into your radio show. But I have to know how those recent shows you did not long ago, Asbury Park, the Convention Center in Jersey with Bruce and the Max Weinberg 7. Was that Max's TV band, basically, with a whole lot of guests?
Yes, that's right. Max's TV band from the Conan O'Brien show were the house band, so to speak, and we did it like an old-time review, the way that the old Alan Freed shows were done, or the Murray the K shows, when, you'd have a house band, and then you'd have guests, vocalists, or whatever, come and do 2 or 3 songs each.
Yeah, I went to Backstreets.com to get the input on what it was, what actually went down. I see, wasn't it you playing the Ramones Christmas tune or something there?
That's right, yeah, I did, yeah.
Is that Merry Christmas, I Don't Want to Fight Tonight?
Yep.
That's hot, man.
Yep.
What were those shows like for you? Now, you're not up there for the whole night, or how much of a role were you playing at each of these?
Yeah, you come and go, you know what I mean? I did that song, I did a few things with Southside Johnny, then I'd go off the stage and, somebody else would come on, and I came back and did a few things with Bruce, and, you just go, you're off and on all night.
Is that set list something that happened spontaneous for that?
Not exactly spontaneously. I mean, we decide what's what a few days before so the band can learn the songs, But, by now, they know most of those old, juke songs, and they know a lot of Bruce's songs, and, some of the Christmas stuff gets done year after year, but mostly it's always a little different.
And then it helps out. It's helping out charities, I mean, for the rest of us, we all just benefit just from hearing about it. It's so exciting that you guys do this every year. And Danny DeVito is at the shows, right? What's his connection to the whole thing?
Yeah, he's from Jersey, so it's like a whole gang of people that's from Jersey that kind of stick together. He did the Night Before Christmas. He recited that poem. It was hilarious, but. You never know what's going to happen. It's different. All 3 nights are actually different.
What's your highlight memory?
Well, that's certainly one of them. It's so great to hear Garland Jeffries, who, you don't get a chance to hear that often. Bruce had found a local gospel choir. It was just amazing. To tell you the truth, the whole show was just great. And Nils Lofgren did some great things. Willie Nile dropped by.
Sam Moore?
Oh, God, yeah. I'm forgetting like the most important category. Yeah, Sam Moore was really the star of the show. And it's extraordinary how his voice has not diminished one iota. I mean, one of the 3 songs he did was in a higher key than the record. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Of course, people may know Sam from Sam and Dave.
Sure.
Was the group that he had all the hits with in the 60s. But one of the great soul singers of all time, and he's still just stronger than ever. It's amazing.
And speaking of crazy guests, 'cause I got to get a little Bruce tap on you. You got to end your Bruce Springsteen tour, and I got to point out something to you quickly, bro. I'm actually from the hood myself. I'm a Philly boy. So I grew up in Wilmington, Delaware.
Okay.
So I'm right down the turnpike from you, man. But you got to end your Springsteen tour with 3 sold-out shows at Shea Stadium, and you had one very special guest. I'd love to hear about that night. I'm sure the listeners would, hearing from you about what it was like to have Bob Dylan there.
We all know Bob a little bit now, through the years. We see him now and then, but it was certainly a nice way to end the tour. It was just symbolically, what nobody quite picked up on was Bob Dylan was one of the guests, and the other guest there that night was Gary U.S. Bonds. Interestingly, if you look at those 2 guys, that is basically the Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Gary U.S. Bonds sound, and of course the lyrics from Bob Dylan. So it was kind of like the two cats that most responsible, perhaps, for Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band were both happened to be there that night, just coincidentally. And but anyway, it was a lot of fun. Bob liked my guitar so much that we gave it to him.
And you gotta love giving your guitar. I mean, you're a hugely successful superstar musician, but I can just tell from talking to you that you must have just been like, dude, I'm thrilled to give him my guitar.
Yeah, it's like whatever, whatever Bob wants. We owe him so much, and the entire history, the whole rock and roll world owes him so much.
Right on, brother. That's huge. That's a cool thing, man.
Yeah, so it was great.
You did a lot of massive stuff on that tour, and being an East Coast kid, I mean, the thing that really I just want to point out before we blow on to some other stuff is when I grew up, I remember the T-shirts on people's backs that said 10 nights at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, and it had the little Spectrum logo, and it had all the 10 nights listed out and stuff. And I thought that just seemed like something I could never comprehend, and it never was. Growing up through the years, it was always a monster thing. Then this past summer, 10 nights at Giant Stadium in New Jersey. It's something, when the Dead would go and do 2 nights there, it was big. It was like no other band would do something like that, and yet you guys, 10 nights. I don't think I'm ever going to get over that. It's so huge. I mean, what is the feeling like walking on stage at a sold-out Giant Stadium for 10 nights?
Well, we had done half the tour. We did 14 months altogether, and the first, I guess, 6 or 7 months were arenas, and the last 6 or 7 months were all stadiums. Yeah, so you get used to where you're playing. I mean, we end up making wherever we're playing as intimate as you possibly can. Through the years, having built the audience one person at a time, you feel like you know everybody. When you start off, you go back to a town 2 or 3 times in a year, and you play a club and slowly build up the audience. Then you get to the theater, then you get to the arena. So by the time you get to stadiums, you feel like you know everybody in the audience. It's an amazing thing that I don't think can happen anymore. You could never build an audience that slowly. It's just too expensive to do that now, I think. So we have a unique relationship with our audience, and
it's Grateful Dead-like at this point. What you've just described is sort of, that's when I look at at the fact that it started in arenas, and it slowly went and it ended up in stadiums, and it didn't just end up in stadiums. It ended up doing across the country stadiums in a way that no other artist would, because of what you just said. You've built an audience of faithful, loyal people who depend on it through the years with personal relationships.
Yeah, and records for us was always like an afterthought. I mean, it took a long time for the record sales to catch up to the live audience thing, so that's just how it was with us. I mean, again, I'm not sure you can do that these days, unfortunately. People tend to come out, have a hit, sell a couple million, and then they're gone,
Totally.
It was a great year.
It was a huge year, man. And hey, let me get on a Bruce and the E Street Band tune. I'm going to get on this live version of Born to Run that I have from your CBS TV special, and then we'll continue this. Cool?
Yeah.
It's 105.9 The Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock. Little Steven, the Workforce Blocks at noon. And Dave Lawrence returning, 105.9 The Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock. The Workforce Blocks at noon, our year-end special here. And Little Steven, my guest. We're welcoming his radio program to the air. This coming Sunday is its debut. And Bruce and the band live. And that was from that CBS TV special, Born to Run. Where was that filmed at? You know the thing I'm talking about, right?
Was that the most recent thing from Barcelona?
It was about 5 or 6 months ago it aired. You
Yeah.
do so much stuff, man. I'm so envious.
We got a whole bunch coming out, and we don't know what's... I think that was the one from Barcelona, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, okay. Maybe that was it. That was hot stuff.
Yeah, forget it. The Spanish audience are insane.
And now, wherever you go, I gotta think people are even more insane to your own, reacting to you because of The Sopranos and as your role as Silvio.
Yeah, every cliche you've ever heard about TV is true in the sense that the show was on like 2 weeks, and everybody stopping me in the street. After 25 years of music and 2 weeks of The Sopranos, it was all Sopranos. That medium of TV just is amazing how much it just affects people, and it's true. I would say it depends on when the show's airing. I mean, when the show's on, of course, you get that a little bit more than when it's not on. But at this point, I must say, 7 out of 10 people at least probably come up and the first thing they say is Sopranos.
Yeah, it's a monster thing. It's changed a lot of stuff. A good friend of mine was recently at the Rolling Stones DVD premiere in New York, and he called in a report from it because he was up in the VIP area. and he's like telling me who was up there, and one of the people he said was up there was you.
Yeah.
When he just said it was you, he just said it as Silvio Dante was up there, and it's just he said it in that sort of Sopranos way. So it's just funny. What you've said is true. TV, it really, and I can't believe it could eclipse because you've done such a huge volume of musical. You're a legend. You're a legend because you look like you have style. You do have style. You are a very colorful musical character, but yet you now have another whole side to you. And what is this? The final episode of the 5th season that you're filming right now, or something?
Yes, which will air, I think, March, and then they'll take a year off this time. It's going to be even a longer gap in between seasons, and the very last 6th season will be probably filmed in '05 and go on '06, so it's going to be a long time before the next one. But this one, it turned out good. Very good writing. The writing continues to be great, and it's one of those things that's quite extraordinary to experience. Very similar to Bruce Springsteen's rise from New Jersey, to see New Jersey become fashionable twice in a lifetime. It's something you never would have expected.
How did you get that gig as Silvio?
David Chase, the creator of the show, had been a huge music fan and still is. So he knew the E Street Band, he knew my solo records, and saw me one day on TV. He was looking for different people for this new series he was creating, and he saw me inducting the Rascals into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which happened to be the first time it was ever televised. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame had always been a private ceremony.
Right.
So Destiny was speaking, and happened to catch me doing that, and said, I want to call the next day, said, I want you in the show.
It's just fascinating how things line up with you. Is it in that same sort of spirit that the radio show came together, the one that's debuting this Sunday?
No, it was the opposite, in fact.
How did it become that you go from your musician, your producer, your actor, now your DJ?
Yeah, well, it just was like one of those moments when I'm a big fan of radio. When I grew up, radio was everything, really. I just hadn't been hearing my favorite songs on radio for quite a while, and never had really heard all my favorite songs on the same station. I tend to be a button pusher pretty much, and I don't care whether it's what format it is or whatever. I'm just looking for the coolest songs. So I thought to myself, well, it'd be fun to have a show that played songs regardless of the format, number one, but the other half of the show really is supporting this contemporary garage rock movement, which is out there right now, that there is no format for. We have a format for everything in radio except rock and roll right now, which is really, horrifying to me. I don't know how we got here, but we are here. The only new music people are allowed to hear pretty much is hard rock and hip-hop and pop. I just discovered this whole underground movement of a bunch of young kids studying the 50s and 60s and 70s and making music that was influenced by that, and it was really, really cool. I mean, it's what we used to call rock and roll. Not hard rock, it's just something else. So I said, well, let me build a show around that. At the same time, play some of the early cool stuff that doesn't get on the radio anymore. So I just combined the two things and went out, and basically none of the syndicators would take it because they would have took it as a favor, but they were like, we can't get rock and roll on the radio anymore. There's really no way to do this. So we ended up doing it ourselves
and creating a buzz.
Oh yeah, we started with 20 stations. And now we're on 132, and ratings are ridiculously high everywhere.
And debuting this Sunday in another city, brother, Honolulu.
I love it.
Coming to town with the Christmas special, which I think is a great way to arrive. What's on tap for that? Give us just a little preview.
Well, you will be hearing the Ramones. Ramones are a very, very important part of our show.
Love Joey, good guy. God bless him.
We'll be playing some unusual Christmas songs, I think, that you don't hear every day. I'm not going to tell you what they are. We'll let you be surprised when you hear them. But,
any special guests?
No, I really don't have guests, pretty much. There's only one time since we started that I actually had a guest, which was a very exceptional case. Jack Black was my co-host.
Nice.
I don't know, a month or two ago. So you can hear it in the archives. You go to littlesteven.com.
It's a great website, littlesteven.com.
Yeah, you can hear that show. I think it's called School of Rock.
It is.
But other than that, we don't have guests. I just, I'm always moving. I did the show from the tour, so I had to do I did 6 or 7 shows from Europe. I did a show from Australia, a couple of shows from Canada. It's difficult enough to do without having a guest every week. So we we haven't had them that much.
Well, just know we're looking forward to having the show on the air. We are welcoming the show to the airwaves this coming Sunday. It debuts 10 p.m. here. And 105.9 The Big Kahuna, thanks you so much for joining me on this Workforce Blocks at Noon year-end special, Little Steven.
No, thank you, Dave. My pleasure. It's an honor and a pleasure to be part of your DJ family. And I'm going to have to come and visit sooner or later, man. You know what I'm saying?
We need you to visit Honolulu, and Honolulu's only classic rock especially. I thank you, man. Little Steven's Underground Garage debuts with their Christmas special this Sunday night on Honolulu's only classic rock at 10 p.m. Little Steven, aloha, brother.
Aloha, baby. Hey, baby, this is Little Steven. You are with the man, Dave Lawrence, on the coolest station in town.